You're given a word, A, B, C, D, D, and you want to create a hash map that basically takes every single character and counts them up, putting them into a hash map. So there's a number of different ways in which you can do this. The way I've been doing it in the past has been this one, where you have a hash map with no default value. This is basically Python's version of a hash map, and you iterate through every single character in the word, adding one to it, and if there's nothing already existing in that hash map with that character, you initialize it with 0. The reason why I've done this in the past is because I feel like it gives more granular detail into basically like what you're doing, right? So like you're just adding like 1 to the character, initializing with 0, etc., etc. What you could do instead is you could use the default dict implementation in Python in order to initialize any empty values with 0 at the very beginning, or any values you want, before iterating through the characters in the word and adding 1 like this. So this is a slightly more concise way of doing it, but it does rely on the default dict data structure. Another way you could do it is also using something called a Python counter. So a Python counter, you actually can just pass in the word as a parameter, and it generates all of this for you automatically. This is a way more concise method of doing so, but it kind of abstracts away the actual process of iterating through the characters in the word, incrementing one at a time, etc., etc. So yeah, the reason why I was doing this before, because it shows, it gives a lot more insight into what you're doing. But now that I've done some thinking about it, the Python counter, since it's implemented in C and uses C structures, the actual object itself, it's slightly faster than having to do like this implementation in Python yourself. And as well as this, it's more concise. And I feel like, for let's say if you have like a technical interview, you could use this, and if the interviewer decides to ask you like, hey, like what does the counter object mean, I think it's fine if you just know how the counter object works, how it's implemented, etc., etc. And like it helps you focus on the algorithm itself, as opposed to having a lot of like code that's like that doesn't need to be necessarily explained for as you're coding through your solution. So yeah, that's why I think you should use the Python counter instead, and why I'm going to use it for subsequent problems in the future.